Tonight, when the sun goes down, you're going to flip a switch. Light will flood the room and you won't think twice about it. But for 99.9% of human history, that switch didn't exist. When the sun set, the world went dark, and something in you still remembers that. You felt it. Walking down a hallway and reaching for the light switch a little too fast, standing in a parking lot at night and feeling your pace quicken without deciding to. You tell yourself it's silly, there's nothing there. But the real answer is far stranger than silly. Your fear of the dark isn't a glitch, it's a message sent across hundreds of thousands of years, still arriving on time. Start with your eyes. They're remarkable machines tuned by millions of years of evolution, but they were tuned for daylight. In darkness, your color vision essentially shuts off. Your depth perception collapses. Objects lose their edges. Your brain, starved of the visual data it relies on, does something clever and something dangerous at the same time. It starts filling in the blanks. This is called pareidolia, a tendency to perceive meaningful patterns, especially faces, in random or ambiguous stimuli. Say it slowly. Pareidolia. It's why a coat on a chair looks like a crouching figure. It's why a bush at the edge of your yard seems to shift when you're not looking directly at it. Your brain isn't malfunctioning. It's doing exactly what kept your ancestors alive. Here's the logic underneath it. Imagine two early humans standing at the edge of a dark forest. One hears a rustle in the bushes and assumes it's the wind. The other hears the same rustle and assumes it's a predator and runs. Most of the time, the wind guesser is right. It really was just the wind. But every so often it wasn't, and that one time is the only time that matters. The predator guesser wastes energy running from nothing again and again. Embarrassing maybe, but alive. The wind guesser is right almost every time, until the one time a leopard is actually crouched in the grass, and then being right about the odds doesn't matter anymore. Natural selection doesn't reward being correct on average, it rewards not being dead. This is sometimes called the smoke detector principle, an idea explored by the psychologist Randolph Nessa in his work on evolutionary medicine. A smoke detector that goes off constantly for burnt toast is annoying, but a smoke detector tuned to never miss a real fire will always seem to overreact to small things. Your fear response works the same way. It would rather embarrass you 100 times than fail you once. So when you feel your skin prickle in a dark room, that's not irrational. That's a cost-benefit calculation run by natural selection over hundreds of thousands of years, favoring caution over accuracy every single time. Now think about what darkness actually removed from your ancestors. Not just light, information. During the day, an early human could see a predator coming from a distance, read its posture, judge its speed, decide whether to run or freeze or fight. At night, all of that vanished. The predator could see, the human could not. This is called information asymmetry, and it's one of the most dangerous positions any animal can be in. Nocturnal predators didn't evolve to hunt in the dark by accident. Big cats, in particular, developed eyes with a reflective layer called the tapetum lucidum, which bounces light back through the retina and dramatically improves night vision. Your ancestors had no version of this. For millions of years, night was the one part of every single day when humans were, quite simply, outmatched. Researchers studying the fossil record and predation patterns of early hominins, including work associated with paleoanthropologist Donna Hart, have pointed to strong evidence that early humans were far more frequently prey than we like to imagine. Leopards, hyenas, and large cats regularly hunted early hominins, and the fossil evidence includes bite marks and puncture wounds consistent with predator attacks. We tend to picture our ancestors as hunters. For a long stretch of prehistory, they were just as often the hunted, and night was when the odds shifted hardest against them. This is why so many human cultures independently developed nighttime rituals. Fire wasn't just for warmth or cooking, it was a boundary. A circle of light that pushed the predator's advantage back just far enough to sleep. Groups who maintained fire through the night, who took turns on watch, who stayed close together in the dark, simply outlived groups who didn't. Which brings us to something curious. Have you ever noticed how much easier it is to fall asleep next to another person or even with a television murmuring in the background, than in total silence and darkness alone. That's not a modern quirk. That's an ancient inheritance. Solitude and darkness was, for most of human history, one of the most dangerous states a person could be in. Your nervous system still treats it that way. There's a term for this constant low-grade scanning your brain does when it senses uncertainty. Neuroscientists call it hypervigilance, a heightened state of sensory sensitivity paired with an exaggerated intensity of behaviors meant to detect threats. You don't consciously turn it on. Darkness turns it on for you. Your pupils dilate. Your heart rate creeps upward. Your attention narrows and sharpens, ready to react to the smallest unexpected sound. Some researchers, including work building on Charles Darwin's early observations of fear responses, have described this as an ancient alarm system, one that predates language, predates tools, predates almost everything we consider distinctly human. Before you could reason your way through a threat, you could feel your way through it. That feeling didn't disappear when we built streetlights. It just went quiet, waiting for the lights to go out again. Think about children for a moment. Nearly every child, across nearly every culture on Earth, goes through a phase of fearing the dark, often peaking between the ages of 2 and 6. Developmental psychologists have observed this pattern so consistently across unrelated cultures that it's difficult to explain as pure coincidence or parenting style. A fear that appears reliably in toddlers in Tokyo, in rural Kenya, in suburban Ohio, without anyone teaching it to them, starts to look less like a lesson and more like a memory, not a personal memory, a species memory. And here's the twist that makes this stranger than most people expect. Your fear of the dark isn't really about darkness at all. It's about uncertainty. Darkness is simply the most efficient uncertainty generator your ancestors ever encountered. Strip away visual information and the brain is left guessing, and guessing wrong, even once, could be fatal. This explains something odd. Why a quiet, dark hotel room in an unfamiliar city can feel more unsettling than your own dark bedroom at home, even though both rooms are equally dark. Your brain isn't just responding to the absence of light, it's responding to the absence of known information. A room you've slept in 1,000 times is a solved problem in the dark. A strange room is not. This also explains why so many people, including plenty of confident, rational adults, still feel a flicker of unease scrolling through their phone under the covers at 2 a.m., glancing toward a dark doorway just to be sure. You know intellectually that nothing is there, but knowing and feeling run on separate systems. The reasoning part of your brain runs on logic. The alarm system runs on probability and consequence, and it doesn't update as fast as your intellect does. So what do you do with an ancient alarm system in a modern, well-lit world? You can't switch it off. It isn't a bug to be patched. It's a feature inherited from every single ancestor who survived long enough to pass it down to you, including all the ones who occasionally overreacted to nothing. In a strange way, every irrational jolt of fear you've ever felt in the dark is proof of an unbroken chain of survival stretching back further than history itself. Tonight, when the sun goes down and you flip that switch without a second thought, remember what that small motion actually replaced. Not just darkness, danger, uncertainty, and an entire evolutionary history that decided caution was worth the occasional embarrassment. Light will flood the room and you won't think twice about it. But somewhere underneath that ease, something ancient is still quietly grateful the lights came on.